World War I. Also known as the First World War or the Great War, was a global conflict that lasted from 1914 to 1918. It started because of arguments between countries and ended up involving most of the world. With the main indirect causes and the main direct cause, many factors contributed in the war that affected many people. But what about the women's and the children's? Children's lives before World War I was a normal life, but not like today's life. In the 90s, children were often working in farms and volunteering helping their families. But not only working, children got that time to spend with their families and live a normal life for any normal kid. For example, after they work, they can play as much as they can, read, or even going outside with their friends. Children during the war. After starting World War I, children were engaged into a life of suffering and experiencing hardship. Children's life turned upside down seeing their families going to the war because they volunteered and some of them were forced. Without any adults, children or even teens were having or feeling the responsibility and working to get a living. And even with these struggles, they got into feeling emotionally. The psychological thinking of living through a world war was significant for children, as they lived with fear, uncertainty, and loss. Many children experienced into violence, displacement, which could displace their mental health. Additionally, there are thousands of children who went to the war with the age between 8 to 16. The youngest children who served in World War I was a kid named Momcilo Gafrig, who joined the artillery division of the Serbian army at the age of 8. After Austro-Hungarian troops in August 1914 killed his parents, grandmother, and seven of his siblings. Sad, right? One real story and a message. One real life story between a soldier and his children was Captain Charles Hamilton Solly, a British officer serving in the trenches, and his young son, Johnny. The message was, "My dear Puck, I think of you every day. I love you very much. Write to me and tell me all about the things you do. I'm so sorry I cannot see you. Give my love to Mommy. Your loving dad." But sadly, Captain Charles Hamilton Solly was killed in action at the age of 20 during the Battle of Loos on October 13, 1915. Schools during the First World War. During First World War I, education in general hadn't changed. Schools and colleges' government funding for education was redirected toward the war effort, specifically students in college. Additionally, some of the schools and hospitals had closed because of military uses. The schools faced disruptions in normal operations as resources, manpower, and funding were redirected towards the war effort. Schools played a crucial role in instilling patriotic values, promoting national unity, and providing a sense of stability of the war. Despite the disruptions caused by the war, education continued to be valued as a means of shaping young minds and preparing future generations. How was life back home in the schools for children during World War I? Schools and children were quickly called into action. Children raised funds for the war effort. The education system had helped prepare children for what will be expected of them. At school, they learned not only to read, write, and do their sums, but also received instructions in moral virtues and imperialistic ideals. Physical education and training in schools reflected the commonly held belief that a healthy body ensured a healthy mind. In the school, boys were taught to march shot straight and follow orders. The school journal increasingly found subject material in the war. Social activities to support war efforts. Children said the war had many roles and missions to have. 1. Fundraising. School children were mobilized to raise funds for causes such as the Ambulance Relief Fund. 2. Volunteer work. 3. War bond sales and public education campaigns. Children after the end of the war. Children after the war face displacement, loss of home and family members, and separation from parents, on whom they depend for their survival needs, leaves long-term consequences on their development and growth, lasting well into adulthood. Moreover, the war had significant economic factors that led into poverty and hardship for families. Additionally, limited access to education and healthcare. The war brought about significant social changes, including shifts in gender roles and increased opportunities for women in the workforce. Children were often affected by these changes, as they witnessed their mothers and other female relatives taking on new responsibilities outside the home.